Shoot Pro Wrestling is the original.
The new hottest thing in professional sports is also the oldest. Shoot Pro Wrestling.
That's right. Shoot Pro Wrestling. Check it out.
The King of Connecticut sitting next to UFC Hall of Famer and Shoot Pro Wrestling President Pat Miletich, the Croatian sensation. And here on my right is Scientific Wrestling President and founder of Shoot Pro Wrestling, Jake Shannon. Guys, we have an exciting matchup coming up in North Dakota. But before we get into that, Pat, tell us your thoughts on the history of Catch as Catch Can.
Well, I mean, that's undeniably, the legends, that we're doing this, and since the beginning, the inception of humans, they've been grappling, wrestling, in combat type elements. And the 1800s into the early 1900s, those guys were, doing massive matches against each other, against the terrible Turks, against a lot of legendary, scary human beings at the Minnesota State Fair, the Iowa State Fair. They have crowds of 50, 60, 70,000 people. I mean, I fought in front of some pretty big crowds, but that's impressive stuff.
Absolutely. And Jake, you and I have a lot of personal history. One of my friends and mentors, like a second father to me, was Billy Wicks. I know you were so close to Billy Robinson and to Carl Gotch. Give us your thoughts on the history of catch wrestling and the scientific wrestling brand that you created.
Yeah, thanks. So, Pat's right. Like, if you really take a historical perspective on this as a sport, it's actually really shocking because Catch as Catch Can wrestling is quantifiably the most impactful combat sport, and I would argue even sport, in all of history. Because from Catch as Catch Can, which very simply put is a rule set that says you can wrestle with submissions, you can win with a submission, or you can win with a pin. That particular rule set, like Pat was saying, was drawing tens of thousands of people back in the day. More popular than boxing, more popular than football, anything of that nature. Well, think of the derivatives from that sport. Freestyle wrestling was originally called, for the Olympics, was called amateur catch as catch can. Scholastic wrestling that we see in the NCAAs, amateur catch as catch can. The first mixed matches between jiu-jitsu, wrestler, boxers all happened because of catch as catch can. This is going back over 100 years ago, already happening. Then you have pro wrestling, you have MMA. So this is a massive, huge sport that nobody's ever heard of. And that's what we're here to change.
Absolutely.
And not to interrupt, but the really cool thing, there's a book called Tigrero out there, and it's about two Russian brothers who went to Brazil for the Diamond Rush in 1921. Think of that year. I've got a book with Earl Lederman instructional from 1921.
Yeah.
But in 1921, during the Gold Rush, Sasha and Ernst Semmel were both accomplished wrestlers and boxers from Russia who went there. They were also engineers, and while they worked their way through the Amazon jungle from ranch to ranch and city to city, they would take on Paraguayan strongmen and all kinds of people like that in catch as catch can matches back in those days. Matches. So it was worldwide. It wasn't like it was just in America.
Well, and to that, to Brazil in particular, the luta libre is the catch as catch can of Brazil.
Brazil,
sure,
absolutely.
Sure.
So it is everywhere, and for us to be able to bring this amazing sport, really show the incredible athletes performing under this really unique and influential rule set is very, very exciting. We've got two really fantastic human beings on this card.
Absolutely. And to expound upon that, what's old is new. We all know, combat sports fans, there was a new company that was founded that was a merger of World Wrestling Entertainment and the Ultimate Fighting Championships. It's called TKO, ownership of Endeavor and Ari Emanuel. So wouldn't you guys agree that the time is prime now for a shoot pro wrestling, a grappling competition where you win by pin or submission?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because that's really the whole crazy idea that we're trying to put off here is, what if professional wrestling was a sport and not theater?
And what if we went back to the future?
Exactly. What if we went back, now that MMA has really done so much to awaken people as to what a real fight actually looks like. So you can't get away with pro wrestling like as it is today, or you can't get away with blood sport, Van Damme. People, I'm old enough to remember when people thought that shit was like the cutting edge. It was like a joke. But now we can reintroduce real catch as catch can, real competitive professional wrestling as a sport.
Absolutely.
We even do tag teams, and it's
Definitely.
amazing.
You've done it, and it's exciting.
Yes.
It's amazing. And guys, I want to take this to a personal level, because we both, all three of us, have friends that have been impacted by TBI and CTE. And the rule set here is also safer, and it gives wrestlers, collegiate wrestlers, international wrestlers, grapplers, the opportunity to compete and make money in a sport as we build and grow this without the CTE and being able to be functional into their later years.
Well, it's much more exciting. I mean, if you think back into the days when guys were having catch matches that lasted for hours and hours, in my personal opinion, that's what led to the theatrics of professional wrestling, to speed it up, to program it a little bit, and make it more exciting potentially for the crowds. But with the rule sets that are put in place, it's important that all of that has been put in place to keep high-paced matches going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the
Absolutely.
rules are really fun because, to what you were saying, and this also happened in the early days of UFC with no time limits.
Yeah.
You realize that, okay, now I need to make a product that's sustainable in a marketplace. It actually has to sell.
It's called a pay-per-view window.
There you go. There you go. So the thing is this whole thing with TKO is very fascinating because, honestly, I feel like this merger has been preluded by the work that I've been doing with Scientific Wrestling and with Shoot Pro, and it just, to me, seems like a proof that this is how the world merging. Like, this idea of having, I mean, I can only imagine how long until they stumble on the formula that we're already working on of taking the professional wrestling and merging it with MMA and creating this new old sport.
Guys. Yeah, absolutely, guys. And let's talk now about what's going on in North Dakota. Jake, when you approached me about this, we've been talking for 2 years together about getting this going. I talked to some coaches back home at my alma mater in Connecticut, and Coach Charlie Blotto gave me one of our most successful wrestlers in the history of Norwalk Wrestling. Just spoke to him an hour ago. A young man by the name of Brandon Riggins.
Brandon Riggins.
Now, Brandon Riggins, he was a 2011 Connecticut state champion. In 2012, he had a perfect season, undefeated, won the Connecticut State Championship, won the All-New England Championships, segued into a collegiate career, was a 2-time junior college All-American out of Springfield Community College. He is currently a police officer. He is a lieutenant in the Army. He is shredded. He trains hard every day.
Did you see the pictures of him?
Yes.
He looks fairly well put together.
Oh, yeah. This guy's just think like Bobby Lashley. Brandon's opponent on the 31st at the Skydancer Casino will be North Dakota native, professional MMA fighter Blade Auk, who also has a solid grappling and wrestling background. Let's take a look now at Brandon and Blade.
We got the historic catch game wrestling match, bringing catch wrestling back 100 years after its ending here in North Dakota. Up next will be Brandon Riggins out of Springfield, Massachusetts. His opponent will be Blade Auk out of Fargo, North Dakota. Brandon Riggins, 215 pounds. Blade Auk, 214.2. The match tomorrow night will be submission or pins, best out of 3. First time ever in North Dakota. They used to put 80,000 people in the arenas for catch wrestling matches back in Minnesota State Fair, Ohio State Fair. This is historic stuff coming back, guys.
Hey guys, UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich here with Blade Auk out of Bismarck. He is one half of the legendary, the historic catch can match that's going to be going on here. First time in 100 years, mind you, we're bringing catch back to the United States in a big way. Blade, tell us a little bit about your background and what you plan on doing tomorrow night.
Yeah, so when I was a young man, I was conflicted, always looking for something to do with my life. I ended up getting in trouble with the law, went to prison at 17 years old, and eventually got out when I was 20. And I found the Lord, and then I found out that the Lord's calling has got me doing all kinds of things, choking fools out, putting people in arm bars, and fighting. So I get to come in here and showcase my skills. I'm going to end this match by any means necessary. I'm going to try to pin the All-American because that's what I do, confident in myself. So thank you for this opportunity, Pat.
The peaceful pastor. All right, Pat Miletich back with Brandon Riggins out of Massachusetts. Brandon, active military, also a sheriff's deputy in Massachusetts. Look, man, normal work for you is stressful, high speed stuff. MMA and catch wrestling, maybe a step down for you. I don't know, but your opponent is definitely geared up for you. What are you thinking for tomorrow night, brother?
Hey, Pat, like you said, this is normal stuff for me. I'm used to dealing with high stress levels, high emotions, high everything. I'm used to competing under that kind of stress. So I'm ready for this. He says he's redeemed. He says he's a coming to God, coming to Jesus. He's definitely going to meet his maker tomorrow.
There you go, guys.
Coming out of the blue corner, Brandon Riggins.
There he is, Brandon Riggins. I recruited this young man for my alma mater from Coach Charlie Vlado. He's a New England state champion out of Norwalk High, a multiple-time JUCO, junior college All-American.
Coming out of the red corner, Blade Auk.
Yeah, Blade, this guy is a giant. Blade is 6'5", 206 pounds. We did a 215-pound catch weight. He is undefeated in North Dakota.
For the first time ever in the state of North Dakota, wrestling out of the blue corner, a professional debut fighter. He stands 5'10", weighing in at 215 pounds. Fighting out of Springfield, Massachusetts. Let's give it up for Brandon Riggins. Wrestling out of the red corner, a professional wrestler also making his catch wrestling debut. He stands 6'5", weighing in at 214.2 pounds. Fighting out of the capital city of Bismarck, North Dakota. Let's give it up for Blake.
Oh, man. Jake, the energy here at the casino, man. The Skydancer Resort and Casino. Amazing. A literal diamond in the rough. As you see, special guest referee Pat Miletich, and let the action commence.
Yeah, this is a hot room, man. The crowd is hot. You got a UFC Hall of Famer.
Takedown attempt there by Brandon. Nice sprawl by Blade. Blade with a go behind.
It's that reach, man. Blade's got,
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh, watch out for the pin, Blade. Get that shoulder up.
Blade's got to watch his blades here. This is a 3 count or submission. And,
That's it.
Oh, and you see Brandon there getting on top and riding Blade. Looks a half Nelson attempt there.
Looks like a cradle.
Yeah. He's got his head in there for a nice cradle. Again, 3 count or submission. Brandon takes it back once again.
You know, we look at Blade. Blade's a stud, man. He's undefeated in MMA in North Dakota. The guy's got 6 grappling wins. Whoa.
Yeah, he is a seasoned grappler. We're going to see how he's affected by the rule set here, and if it benefits the All-American wrestler.
Yeah, that's where I was going with this exactly, Matt. I think that, you know, I'm noticing with Blade, he's already doing a lot of wrestling moves like cradles, you know, shooting the half. These are things that I think could be a problem for him.
Looked like he was going for a head lever there and then went back to potentially a cradle. Now he's taking the back of Blade off, the undefeated MMA fighter.
Yeah, Blade's got to get up. This is a bad spot for him.
Yeah, Blade runs the risk of attempting to pull guard instinctively and getting pinned.
Cradle. Yeah, now, mind you, what we have seen in other catch matches with jiu-jitsu guys, you can run it, you can play guard, you can do a guard strategy. Now, it's definitely not a crowd favorite. You get boozed, but if you're there to win it, as long as you keep your shoulder up, you can play guard. I've seen it done.
Absolutely. The Rosensweig match against Curran Jacobs being one classic example. Looks like he's going back again in the head lever position, something that I know he learned from Coach Vlado. He's got good control of the hips of Blade Ock. And Blade doing a good job avoiding the pin. He goes to his back temporarily. Again, this is the 3
look,
count.
he's keeping that shoulder up.
Yeah, it looks like he might be going for...
With Blade, what you notice is what Billy Robinson used to tell me about the catch rules that made it more action-packed, is Blade is exposing his arms every time he tries to keep the shoulder up. His arms are exposed for a stitch. Whoa!
Yeah, great active hips, though, by Blade Ock. Blade looked like he was going for a double wrist lock on the far side there, but he was still controlled by Brandon, and really good active hips by Blade Ock to buck the All-American wrestler.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how conditioning plays in here as the match goes on as well. These are longer periods than normal grappling. That's it. Yeah!
Both men, nice, beautiful throw
by
Brandon.
There by Brandon Riggins.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
That's it, get that shoulder down.
Looks like
that shoulder down.
Yeah, Blade's got to watch his shoulders here.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, he's got
it's got to be,
like you said.
It's got to be a departure too for Brandon with the 3 count as well. Brandon with great control, making Blade carry his weight here.
There you go, there you go.
Taking the back.
Uh-oh.
Looks like he's trying to sink in a choke. Does he have it?
Yeah, he got the tap. I saw it.
Blade got the choke.
Ball. Let's go, Brandon. Good job. First ball goes to
Brandon,
Riggins.
rather. Yeah, Brandon Riggins gets the choke over the much taller Blade Ock. And we're just going to continue round one. To clarify the way it works here, 5-minute rounds, and after the fall, the round continues. It does not stop. So we're still in round one.
This is a variation on the Shoot Pro rule set. This is the very first ever catch wrestling cage match.
Yeah, and great control there by Brandon as Blade looks to go for a double wrist lock on the far arm of Brandon. Time, okay, so just to clarify.
That was the time.
Yeah, that's the end of round one. So we had one.
And a powerhouse, speed and power versus leverage and reach.
Man, it's a very even matchup as we begin round two.
Here we go.
See a little hand fighting, jockeying for position. I am impressed thus far with Blade's wrestling. Oh, Blade going for a jumping front headlock guillotine there. Man, and Brandon sent him crashing to the mat.
Whoa,
oh man, attempting to figure four that leg, and Brandon having none of it with a nice go behind.
Yeah, you know, Brandon his reaction like IQ is amazing. He really responds well, very quickly.
Yep. And Blaydock attempting to hip into his opponent, into Brandon Riggins.
Oh, he got it.
Yeah. Oh, he's sinking in a choke.
Oh.
Blade sinking in a choke. Does he have it? The old sleeper hold rear naked choke.
I can't
UFC Hall of Famer, Shoot Pro president, Pat Miletich, close to the action. Oh, and Brandon taps out.
Whoa.
Man, Jake, you got a seesaw battle here.
This is why we have the best of three falls.
So Jake, we should clarify here. We're going to continue round two. Next fall wins. Some hand fighting again. Man, I'm really impressed with that choke from Blaydock.
Well, he looks like he's got a little confidence right now. I don't know if he's going to do that jumping guillotine trick, but he's definitely confident.
That was awesome.
Uh-oh, here we go again.
Nice sprawl there by Brandon. One there on the bottom from Blaydock. He's been really good at controlling the hands of Brandon Riggins for the most part. But Brandon's been doing a great job of controlling his hips. And I'm wondering if we may see a pinfall here, Jake, from the wrestler.
Well, that's the thing. Get him to his back. I'm really, you know, Brandon, the guy's an All-American. He's definitely a stud, no doubt. But I've been impressed with the ability of Blaydock to adapt to the catch wrestling rule set. He is definitely playing his game, but he's keeping his shoulders up.
Absolutely, and with those long legs, Brandon on top now. Brandon looks like going for half Nelson, maybe going for a pin here. But with those long legs of Blaydock, he could potentially get a squeezing body side headlock there, way high. It looks like a pin attempt there from Blade.
Yeah, that was a good bridge, though, out of Brandon. He didn't let it happen.
Yeah, Brandon got very strong, solid hips.
You're right. Look at how Blade is controlling Brandon with his legs, though. That right leg of Brandon is stuck. He just worked it out. Here, uh-oh.
Man, it looks like you see those long legs
of Blade Ock, and they're not active right now. He's got to get those hips active.
That's it. He's got to get up. He's got to stand up. He's in a bad spot.
It looks like Blade has him in jeopardy for another choke, potentially.
Yeah. He's setting it up right now, sleeper.
Yeah, it looked like Brandon may be going more for a face lock. It looks like Blade is tucking the chin there.
He doesn't have it. He got out, and he reversed it. Ooh.
Great go behind there by
Blade
Ock.
You got to wonder where's Brandon is gassed right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Blade, he looks to be a little high here, going for the choke.
Yeah, I think he might shake him off. Oh, he's in trouble. Brandon don't like that.
Brandon's in a lot of trouble here. Using those long legs. And you see that beautiful scoop there by Blade Ock. Really impressed with the hips of a Blade.
Yeah,
in this matchup
and again, I keep it. Obviously Riggins is just a stud, but I really have to commend Blade's attitude. Not only that, he didn't butt scoop.
Oh, he did it again.
That crazy jumping guillotine.
Oh man, what a match, Jake! This is evenly matched here.
Yeah, people are getting their money for it, man. We're getting all 3 falls out of this one.
Mariah Prussia putting on a great card here, defining the fights. UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich, also Shoot Pro president, our referee. And that will be the end of round 2, just to clarify. So just to break things down for the fans, it's Brandon Riggins 1 fall, Blade Ock 1 fall.
This will be your 3rd and final round. At the end of 2 rounds, the match is tied 1-1.
Man, this crowd is loving the catch wrestling rules. I think we might know we know that Shoot Pro appeals to the pro wrestlers. We know that Shoot Pro appeals to the grapplers. Well, now we know Shoot Pro appeals to the MMA crowd too.
Absolutely. And variety is the spice of life. And these folks have been treated to some fine MMA fights here from Mariah Prussia and Define the Fight. But this is back to the future. We're taking combat sports back to the future here with Catch as Catch Can in the cage.
Here we go. Let's go. Crowd's
hot. 3rd and final round. Both guys jockeying for position here.
Pile driver.
Well, the thing that Shoot Pro solves is a lot of times for those of you that have been around the game for a while, if you go to a judo tournament, a jiu-jitsu tournament, even a scholastic wrestling tournament, sometimes it's a little boring. I'm just going to be real. But with the Shoot Pro rules, with having a submission and a pin, this is a perfect example. And the athletes, one's a wrestler, one's jiu-jitsu, and the action has been nonstop.
Absolutely. And you see in that collar and elbow tie-up exchange here, both guys tend to be a little weary here at this point. Nice fake there, Juke.
I think they're tired too.
Oh, and a take. Speaking of which, takedown attempt from Brandon Riggins.
Oh!
Beautiful sprawl, and we may have a choke. We may have a finish here from Blade Ock.
Oh, he's got it. Is it?
I can't tell. Looks like he's more of a face lock. Brandon doing a great job tucking his chin, which is the key
he didn't
here.
Have it.
And, I talked earlier about the figure 4 body scissors and those long legs.
Yeah.
And you see Blade utilizing that now. Jake, as a grappler, you get a good squeeze. And you can make a guy tap just with that figure 4 body scissors. We get those long, powerful legs of Blade Ock. Brandon,
and not only that, you could get this is bad for Brandon, but yeah, it's also suffocating because he's cinching up around the diaphragm. You can't get a good breath, and you're already gassed at the in your 3rd round.
Absolutely, and you see that here, and you see, it looks like Brandon's turning into him. That's what Brandon needs to do. He needs to turn his hips in.
Yeah, ring awareness on Brandon Riggins. Really strong ring awareness here.
Absolutely. He's been cross-training for some time with MMA and grappling, all-American wrestler, so he knows the submission game. He proved that in the first fall. He's turning in, and again, those long legs, that beautiful figure four body lock of Bladock, very impressive. Oh, look at Brandon turning into him and cradling the leg.
Uh-oh.
And Brandon gets the pinfall.
Wow.
Oh, my.
Look, even Miletich's mind is blown. That is a great match.
That grappling exchange, Jake, is what Shoot Pro Wrestling is all about. Brandon Riggins on the verge of losing, and he gets the third fall and the win, making Norwalk Wrestling and Charlie Vlado proud. Brandon Riggins, the All-American out of Springfield, Massachusetts, with the win. Getting his hand raised by Shoot Pro President, UFC Hall of Famer, Pat Miletich. Special guest referee. What a match, Jake.
Fighting out of the blue corner. With a score of 2-1, Brandon Riggins.
Man, you see the hand raise there. Brandon Riggins, he had to earn that win.